No.
Yep. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks you for tuning in today. Welcome to the Lyceum Talks Masterclass Series. My name is Professor Rudy Lopez. You can call me Rudy Lopez, Professor Lopez, but very excited to have all of you here today. We're excited to have our next guest speaker. For those of you that are new, thank you for joining us if this is your first time. So originally I started this group inspired by the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who, if you've read a little bit about Aristotle, after he was done with his study with Plato, his mentor and teacher, he ended up going back home to where he was born, and he started his own academy, and he called it the Lyceum. So he decided to name the Lyceum Academy, and decided to open up an academy, a schooling, to make it available to anyone in the community, anyone in the town that just was interested in seeking knowledge and wisdom and truth, to be inspired by speakers, to interested in debates about issues. So that's where I got the inspiration for the Lyceum. It was originally called the Be Non-Human Investment Club. It still is, but it's Saturdays is the investment club. And on Thursdays, I wanted to change the name so that it's more of a gathering together of people. We have people from across the United States. We have current students and former students that have joined in, and we have people from around Southern California. So it's designed to offer opportunities to have professionals come speak to the group, what I call subject matter experts. And we've had best-selling authors, we've had successful entrepreneurs, we've had millionaires speak to the group. So when it comes to me inviting people to come speak to the group, I have a very high standard, and I don't just invite anybody. I look for specific people that I believe could have a great message to share with all of you, to not only take that knowledge and wisdom and apply it in your personal life, but also to learn from people as they share their stories from all walks of life of what they've done in their lives, what's made them successful in their careers, and what types of things you can learn from these individuals to apply into your life. So we're excited to have Sharmila Viswasam from Maryland in DC, and just super excited to have her here. Sharmila is the founder of Realtor Star Shar Inc. and also Star Shar Media. She's a passionate, thriving real estate professional, savvy day trader on the NASDAQ, which is how I met her. She's a philanthropist, a writer, a communication strategist, and a social change advocate with a huge passion for supporting important causes around the globe. She's got an amazing story. Recently, Charles Payne, the host of the Making Money with Charles Payne show, had her on his show, and he called, as he was doing a segment on the millennial trading revolution on Wall Street. So interestingly enough, with the COVID-19 pandemic, it has opened the doors for millennial traders to join the stock market and to invest in the stock market. And he's identified Sharmila as one of the rising superstars, and he invited her on his show, as well as her mentor Stan, to share, because they are rapidly becoming superstars on social media, and their platform is growing. She was also featured. I happened to see, when I was reading my Wall Street Journal on Saturday, I happened to see her on the cover of Wall Street Journal. So next up is Forbes, right, Shar? So we have a superstar here. So with that said, Sharmila.
Well, thanks, guys. Thank you, Professor Lopez, for having me on. It's an honor anytime I speak in front of a bunch of people. I feel like God is using me. So, I thank you for the platform, and I thank you for letting me talk to all you wonderful people out here. And, just a little bit about me. That was a long resume, but I'm just Shar. I go by, what feels right in my heart. And, being a businesswoman, you get faced with a lot of challenges and a lot of obstacles. And, when you have God on your side, everything falls in place. So, you know, just a little bit background about me. I live here in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm right outside of D.C., about 45 minutes in Lake Ligonor. It's in Frederick County. It's like 10 something here at night. So, you know, I'm on the East Coast, and basically 6 years ago, I found myself unemployed. So it was December 30th. I went into my job. I always was in sales. Okay. So when I was selling education. So I would work for different trade schools. And the last school that I was at was a massage school. But before that, I worked for University of Phoenix. I worked for Stanford Brown University, which is a trade school. And, you know, I would be an enrollment counselor. So like I would have people like you guys come in and meet with me, and I would talk about what kind of program you wanted to get into and give you information about that program and see if you wanted to enroll in that university or that school. So I did that for 10 years. And the last school I was at was the Baltimore School of Massage. It was a massage school. So I was enrolling kids into that school. And during that time in 2014, after the recession of 2008, the schools, especially like trade schools and stuff, people didn't have money to go to school anymore. So I found myself going into work on December 30th, right after the holidays, you know, and they fired me, and they said that, you know, the position's no longer, and they don't have money to pay my salary. So that's what happened to me in 2014. So going into the new year, I was very like, wow, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been working for all these different schools, and I'm always a numbers person. So I always had the highest enrollment rates and all this stuff. So, you know, and I was like, God, you know, what's going on? So I decided to take some time off. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I always had a job. I always believed in having your own money and having your own job, because I didn't like to bother my parents for it, you know, and I didn't want to hear the word no if I wanted something. So I always had a job. And I decided for the first time in my life, I decided to take some time off and reset and figure out what I really wanted to do. I was 32 years old, and I knew that whatever the next step was for my life, that it was going to have to be forever. So I took 6 months off. I went on unemployment, and I started looking and researching, and I realized that the housing market was coming back. So in 2008, there was a market crash, right? And we went into a recession. A lot of people around the world, around the country, lost their houses to foreclosure and all this stuff. But then, you know, there was the banks were giving rates in the feds and all this stuff. And so the market was coming back, the housing market. So I said, if I can sell education to people, I can probably sell houses. So I looked deeper into it. I went ahead and, you know, started researching it, and I went to real estate school. I did an 8-day class. The only time they offer an 8-day class is to lawyers, and so they could brush up on their laws, the real estate laws. So anyway, I was like, I want this class. This is the class I want. I went and I said, if I pass this class, then it's meant to be. So I went there, and for 8 days, I was like in my books, like I didn't do anything. I studied. I went to class class started from 8 to 5. I would come home and I would study, and I wanted it so bad. And I truly believe in your heart, if you want something so bad, you go after it. So the 8th day comes, and I did my classes with Long and Foster, which is a big corporate real estate firm here. And the guy asked me, he was like, do you want to take your test today? Because you get 30 days after the class to study and take the test. And I said, no, I want to take it today. So I took the test and I passed, and I was really happy. And then now I had to wait 2 weeks to go take the Maryland State Boards, and I studied, and I passed. And that was it. I went on Facebook. I told all my friends, hey, I became a realtor. I'm a licensed realtor. And everyone was congratulating me. And one of my friends, Roger, he commented on the post and he said, congratulations. Actually, I'm looking at this house in downtown Baltimore and I want you to show it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was going to join this one brokerage because I was doing a lot of research to see where I wanted to hang my license. And the guy that I was going to hang my license with, he tells me, I'm sorry, I can't take you right now. And this was like, so I lost my job in December. I took 6 months off. So this was like July of 2014. Okay. And I asked, he tells me that he's not going to hire me right now and I have to wait till October, November when he comes back from his vacation. And I'm like, I can't wait that long. So what am I going to do? So I called this guy I went to high school with and I knew that he was selling houses. And I called him and I said, hey, I know you're selling houses. I just got licensed yesterday. I need to find a broker to hang my license because as a realtor, you have to have a brokerage to hang your license. And he goes, okay, well, I'll hang your license for you, whatever. So he hangs my license. Then my friend who commented on my Facebook post, congratulating me, wants to see this house. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Wow, this is happening all on like the first 2 days. So I go and so, the broker tells me, go show him the house. So I go show him the house, okay? And the guy's like, I love the house. Let's put an offer. And I'm like, no way, can't be this easy. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go show the house. I show the house. The guy wants to put an offer. So I come back and I call my broker and he doesn't answer his phone. And I'm like, where is he? I don't know what to do because in class for 8 days, they only teach you the law and all the stuff that you shouldn't do as a realtor to end you up in jail. So, as far as like writing contracts and being a realtor, they don't teach you any of that stuff. You're supposed to have a mentor and a broker and they're supposed to go through all this stuff with you. So anyway, can't find the guy, don't know what to do. I'm kind of confused because this guy wants to write an offer and I knew in real estate school, they talked about time is of the essence. And I don't know if the listing agent has another offer. I don't know anything. I just want to get my friend this house. So what I did was I wrote an email to the listing agent and I said, hi, I'm Shar and this is my client, Roger, and here is my offer, blah, blah, blah. And I sent it. The guy emails me back and he's like, oh, this is great. But where's the offer? There's no attachment. And I said, I don't know where to find that stuff. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, listen, I didn't want to get myself in trouble. So I was like, listen, I just got licensed yesterday and I hung my license with this guy and he's my friend from high school and he's a one-man shop. And I don't want to go to a big corporate real estate company. I was supposed to join this other guy. He has about 20 people on his team, but he didn't want me. And this, I don't want to go to a big company like Long and Foster, Keller Williams, or any of those people, because I know that they're going to make me sit behind a desk and I don't have time. Like I want to work. So he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, you need a mentor. And I'm like, I know, whatever. So he's like, well, listen, I need to sell the house and you have a buyer. So let's meet for coffee tomorrow and I'll help you write the offer. And I said, oh my gosh, really? He's like, yes. And this is the listing agent. So I said, okay. So I go meet him for coffee at the Starbucks. And he comes out of a cop car and I'm like, oh no, I'm in trouble. He comes out of a cop car and he goes, I am Stanley Barch and I'm the listing agent. And I'm like, well, why are you in a cop car? He's like, oh, I'm also a police officer for Montgomery County. And I do this, this is my second job. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, by the way, I'm also a broker. And I knew when God puts people like that together, I wasn't looking for him and he wasn't looking for me, but I knew that there was something there. So I begged him. I said, can you please be my mentor? And he goes, well, I just started my brokerage. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. And I just started my brokerage and I have to talk to my wife. And I just started in March of this year. And I'm still working on doing the logos and making sure the marketing's all good and all that good stuff. So lo and behold, that night he called me back. He said, I talked to my wife. I'm going to take you on board. And ever since that day, he's never left me behind. He's always taken me on the ride, and he is my mentor, my best friend, my broker, my big brother, and it's just been an amazing journey. So I'm a pretty active realtor here, selling a lot of houses in the DMV. I'm licensed in Washington, D.C. and Maryland. So then fast forward to March of this year, and COVID happened. So I'm self-employed. When you're a realtor, you're a 1099 contractor. So, you know, you hang your license with your broker, but you're self-employed. So COVID happened. My broker had a kidney transplant last year. He has his own story. I won't get into it because it'll take forever. But he had his beat partner donate a kidney to him last year. And so when that happened, he was taking some time off. And he was taking some time off, and he decided to tap into the stock market because, you know, just in case, like, you know, his recovery was going to take longer than expected and all this stuff. Because as a realtor, you're always on the go and you're always on, you know, so he needed to take some time off. So he started tapping into the stock market last year in the summertime. And then he kept telling me about it, but I was like really busy. You know, I sell about 7 houses a month. You know, I have clients. I'm just always on the go. And he started telling me about it, and I didn't listen. I was like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm busy, whatever. So then January, we started hearing about COVID. But no one thought I was going to be here. You know, whatever. I'm still working. I'm still preparing because I prepare. So real estate's in quarters. So you have spring, summer, fall, winter. So in the winter, I'm already preparing for my spring market. So last year, I was already preparing for spring 2020 and getting my clients ready for their houses and telling them what to do and do the upgrades and paint and all this stuff. So when March came and COVID came to a halt and they shut us down here in the DMV, it was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And he was already full throttle into the stock market, day trading. So I said, Stan, I need you. He's like, I told you this. And I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't listen. I need you now. And he told me what to do. He said, get a book, you know, learn it. He didn't teach it to me, but he told me the ropes. He showed me the ropes, and I was still doing real estate because, you know, I still had clients that were trying to, because I was in the middle of transaction, trying to sell a house, all this stuff. So doing that plus studying.
I don't know if it's me, but is it freezing?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Hey, Shar, can you unmute yourself? Unmute on your laptop because we can't hear you. I think your laptop muted for some reason.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. So, you know, if for any reason, you know, I just say, whatever you have in your heart and you feel, you know, if you want something bad enough, go for it. You know, always have the right mindset. You know, be around the right people that are encouraging. You want to be around optimistic people because the last thing you need is someone that's pessimistic and that's going to kill your dreams. You know, I always tell people a vision without action is only a daydream. So you have to put work into it and make it a reality. And work hard at your craft, master it, and everything else will fall into place. So.
Thank you, Shar. So okay. You talked about the fact that you worked in education and you got fired. And, you know, I think we all get fired at some point from some job, right?
Yeah.
But talked about,
that was my first job I ever got fired.
Right. Talk about the fact that the possible shock that you must have felt in which you got fired, you were working for them for 10 years, and it's just kind of like,
Well, I
Wow.
was working in the school industry for 10 years. I believe this particular school, I was there for 2 years. And I knew it was coming because we just couldn't keep up with the enrollment and the numbers of people because of the recession. That's what happened to my previous school. And I just knew it was coming. I just didn't think it was going to come that fast because the school was still doing well as far as their numbers was concerned. But it was definitely a shock. And I was also going through some personal things in my life during that time. I had a boyfriend for 5 years, and we weren't doing well. We split up, and then that happened. It was during Christmas time. It was really rough. And I knew waking up on January 1st of 2014, I never wanted to feel that way again. And I knew that my life had a purpose, and I had to find it. And I had to figure out who I was as an individual at first. Because when you're like 32, and you've lived a good 20s, you party, you do all these things, and, you have all these friends. But when you turn 30, it's like a different type of atmosphere. And then once you're 30 and you're like you're still trying to figure it out. And I just knew that I knew the next job was going to be either the job that's going to make it or not make it. When you don't have any savings and you're broke and you don't have any of those things going for you, it makes you want it more, and that's where I was in January 1st of 2014.
Well, no, that's perfect, because I think at some point I've been there. I've been broke. I've been fired, without a job. For the young ones out there, maybe you've already been there, or you're gonna be there at some point. Hopefully not. But can you talk about the fact that you got out of a relationship, it didn't work out, the job didn't work out. It seems like when it rains and pours, but you had to figure out how to pivot. Can you talk about the process of pivoting, but also your journey, and how did you go about finding yourself or finding your clarity about moving forward and what you were going to do moving forward?
Just a lot of research and meditation. You can't really like go ask people for advice because they'll have their own input. And you can go talk to anyone you want, but it's just like, they don't understand what's really in your heart and your mind. So for me, it was a lot of meditation, trying to figure out what happened, trying to not make those same mistakes again, trying to make sure the next job, is not the same job that I was in for 10 years. Something that's going to excite me, something where, for me, it was all about motivation. Like I had like something to prove or something, to someone, and that's basically how I pivoted. And that's basically how I stirred myself around and I said, I'm going to make it. And I have a purpose, and I've been doing a lot of communications, working with, a lot of different organizations. I met a lot of high profile people just being here in the DC area. I used to do parties, and I used to do philanthropy work with all these different charities and the parties with them. And then, I just knew like God wouldn't bring all these people to me and me meet all these different people without a purpose. And I knew that I liked, not to sound so, whatever, but I like nice things, and I wanted to have a nice life. And
nothing wrong with nice things.
Yes, I wanted to have a nice life, and I wanted to be able to give myself a good life because I felt like I deserved it, And I always liked finance, and I always liked how to make your money work for you. That was always me. I was a good saver. Right. And I felt like if I could literally go broke and build an empire, then I can probably help others. And that's where I am now. The fact that all the things I've been through, 6 years, and for me, it was a hunger. Like, how like you're hungry and you really want it that bad, whether it's a cheeseburger or whatever it is, I wanted it. And I wasn't going to stop till I got it.
Absolutely. Talk about your first, you became an entrepreneur. did you think that you had it in you to be an entrepreneur? And then, you
Yes,
started,
I always felt like I would, yeah.
You started your media company. It sounds like you've taken all your experience of previous jobs and combined it together and moving forward. Talk about your entrepreneurial journey, your struggles, some of the lessons that you've learned. What could you share to those that are here that are interested in entrepreneurship, and why do you think entrepreneurship should be considered by some people, and how do we know if you're entrepreneur capable or not?
To be an entrepreneur, you need to be a people person, and you need to learn customer service skills, because whatever service you're offering, whether it's media, public relations, real estate services, whatever it is, even a bakery, or you need to have the people skills. And I think that's really important, because you can't really be a boss if you can't go out there and talk to people and be friendly. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get it in their heads where they are too good, and you can never be that way. You always want to be a helpful person, because that's going to make people love you and give business to you. I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was in 2009, I got in with this guy who had this online magazine called Hush Society Magazine. It stood for Help Us Support Humanity. And he made me his public relations director. And I knew that I wanted to do more with that. And I started a small little PR company. It didn't go anywhere, but it was my little dream that I had, and I wanted to highlight all the good things that people were doing, because I felt like the media back then in 2009, when the social media world was like really getting exposed and everyone was joining Facebook, because Facebook was only for college students, and then everyone started joining Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff. And so back then I wanted to highlight the good things that people were doing, because the media's always focused on negative stuff. And like if there was someone that is helping the homeless, or someone that's has a charity that helping kids, kids, underprivileged children, I wanted to highlight them. And that was my media company. It never went anywhere, but it was my baby, and it I love doing it. But through that, even though it didn't go anywhere, through that, I met so many people, significant people, that were doing amazing things for humanity. I ended up going to Haiti all of 2010, giving back right after, if you guys remember, the January 12th, 2010 earthquake happened. And when that happened, my friends asked me to go with them to Haiti to give back. And we went back like 3 times that year. And, and it was the most amazing trip. I think everyone should take a mission trip sometime in their life. So.
Absolutely. Talk about the importance of relationships and building relationships and networking. How's that been beneficial to you, and how can those of us in the audience here develop that, or how to, I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of relationship building and networking and building connections, because it could open doors. What advice would you give to the group?
I was just talking to a realtor about this, and she was struggling with how she's going to find her next client. And I think building relationships is the most important thing, besides being friendly. You want to build relationships. My real estate business is 100% word of mouth. I don't pay for leads. I don't go on Zillow and, give them my credit card number and they send me all this leads from the internet. I want to work with people that knows me and that knows my friends. So to get to that point, you have to build relationships. For me, I always tell my clients, I don't care if I sell you a house or not. I just want to be your friend, and I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your needs. Also, I truly believe to build a network, you need to show people who you truly are. We live in a society where everything's open, and, you can find anything about anyone out there. And I truly believe that you should be able to show people who you are, be a go-getter, and people will just fall in love with you, whatever it is, put yourself out there and say, this is who I am. This is my journey. This is my story. And the money will come to you. It really will. Like, I honestly, I have people call me every day telling me that they want me to sell them a house or they want to buy a house. Like tonight, when I get off the phone with you guys, I'm writing an offer, and so it's pretty amazing. Just, you build your network and you have your friends. If your friends really love you, they're going to spread your name and spread your business out there.
Absolutely. Can you, excellent point. Sabrina asked the question that it's been a dream of hers to do a mission trip. How can somebody get started with connecting with the right organization to do a mission trip?
Depends on what the mission trip is. If it's about children, I guess you need to just write down like where you want to go, research that area, see if there's a local church there or, local nonprofit that needs help. And then talk to your local church. If you go to church, talk to them and make it happen. Just make the connections. You just make some phone calls and make it happen. Actually, when the Mississippi, there was a big, huge tornado that came through, and I was watching the news. I think this was like back in 2015 or 16. I was watching the news, and there was this tornado that like went through Oklahoma, Mississippi. It was like the worst tornado. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I saw it on the news, and I saw this baby basically get taken from, like, the mom went to go pick up the baby from the daycare. It was the last baby that was left, and she was like 2 years old or whatever. And the roof of the house came off, and the baby got sucked up on the tornado, and the tornado took the baby into the bushes, and no scratches, nothing. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I have to go to Knoxville, Mississippi. And I told my dad about it. My dad's a preacher. I told him about it. I found the local church. It was a Baptist church there. I had all my church members donate, and they actually took it down there, and we took it down there, and it was amazing. So if whatever it comes to your heart, you want to do a mission trip, do it. There's a lot of people that need you.
Awesome, fantastic. Yeah. And what about the people that they're introverts? They're introverts, they're shy, but they have big dreams, big goals, but they just, what would you say to them? Because I'm an introvert, but yet I knew that if I wanted to fulfill my dreams and open doors, I had to step out of my comfort zone and talk to people and stuff. What would you say to introverts?
Practice, like talk to yourself in the mirror. I would say before in my life, I used to be an introvert. I used to be really shy and, all of that stuff when I was growing up. And, I think you just need to be confident in who you are. You don't have to be loud. I'm loud, but you don't have to be loud. You can be, you can have your own voice in your own way. Everyone's different, and you can be soft-spoken, but someone is going to love you because of who you are. And I think you just need to have the confidence and go out there and just do it. Confidence, I think, is the key for introverts.
Absolutely. Brandon Garcia is asking, you mentioned about perfecting your craft. What does it take to discover what that craft is in the first place? So how does somebody find, I'm a firm believer that God gives everybody a gift. They have a gift. Steve Harvey, it's comedy, right? Professional athletes, it's sports. I think I've struggled with this for a lot of years, in which I was trying to figure out, asking God, dude, hurry up already. Tell me what my gift is, because I've been searching and I don't know what it is, right? But how does one discover their gift or their craft or what they're supposed to be doing? And then walk us through that process of what do you mean by perfecting your craft? What does that entail?
Well, I mean, perfecting your craft is basically what is your passion, you know, like if you're an artist or a singer or, you know, you like bio stuff, you know, you like to cook or you like to make your cakes. Everyone has a passion for something, whether it's video games or, you know, putting on makeup, you know, getting your hair done, you know, something. Everyone has a passion, and you got to tap into that because that's going to be your money maker. If you love doing it and you don't treat it as work, that's your craft. And mastering that craft is just becoming the best at it. You know, you want to be a cake, you want to make cakes. The Cake Boss is probably the best cake, you know, that show, The Cake Boss, right? The guy that makes the cakes at Carlos. You know, you want to be better than him, you know? So, you know, I always tell people, find what you love. And when it doesn't feel like work, that's your craft, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'm glad you mentioned about being the best, because I think that's one variable that has to be there, is that whatever your craft is, you know, Kobe Bryant, he didn't want to be one of the greats. He wanted to be the best ever, right?
Exactly.
Same with Michael Jordan, the best ever. So would you say that excellence, pursuit of excellence, or pursuit of becoming the best is an ingredient that you need to have to really begin perfecting your craft? Whether, as I always talk about in my class, I don't care if it's making cupcakes or cookies, but be the best at it, right?
Right. And if it messes up, you know, you burn it, do it again, you know, keep doing it over and over and over again until you can do it with your eyes closed, you know. And yeah, I truly believe to be excellent at something, it takes a lot of practice, and where you can just do it without any hiccups, you know, and you can teach others. So when you become excellent at something, you can also share that with other people and make them excellent. That's what makes you a winner. You know, when you win,
Absolutely.
when they win, you win. So, you know, mastering your craft. Like, let me tell you, I'm still mastering who I am, because it's not just about my craft. It's about who Shar is, and, you know, what does Shar want? Because God still talks to me every single day. He still puts dreams in my head, and he says, you know, go for it, you know, whatever it is. And so, like, you know, today, for example, I was talking to Stanley, my mentor, my broker, and I was like, you know, all these people on Twitter are creating all these fake accounts. It's getting annoying, you know, because they're creating all these fake accounts, and we need a verification check on our Twitter page. And I was like, I was in the shower, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to people that I know, because it's going to happen. And, you know, and I'm in the works of doing that. But, you know, when you have a thought and it's a good thought and you're like, that's a great idea, make it happen, you know, and keep mastering it. And eventually someone's going to get tired of you knocking on their door, and they're just going to be like, okay, fine, I'm just, you know, done. You know, you're just going to bother them too much, and they're just going to be like, oh, okay, here comes Shar. But yeah, if you got to be excellent at what you're doing. Once you become excellent, you can continue to master your craft and grow it. You know, it's just not about plateauing. It's about growing.
Sure.
And doing other things, and the opportunities will start coming to you too.
Absolutely. What would you say your God-given gift is, and how have you pursued your craft in real estate and towards mastery in real estate? And then also with investing as a day trader, you've only been a day trader since, I think, May or March or something like that.
Yeah,
so very recently.
Yes.
So
being a realtor is hard. There's nothing easy about it, because you are not getting paid until you sell the house, and it can take a while, because, like, let's say you go out, you show a house to a client, and there's 5 other people that love the same house. Now you got to figure out how to write a creative offer so your client wins the house. They win the house. You went through all that work. You know, you've been working with them for 2 weeks to find a house. You find the house, you win the offer, and then you go to the home inspection, and then everything under the moon is wrong with the house, and they don't want it anymore. So now you're back on the market looking for a house for them. And then, you know, something else happens. There's title issues. by the time you get to the table, you're like, oh my God, I worked so hard for this paycheck. You know, it's worth it, but I worked so hard for it. So with real estate, I realized that quickly, and I realized that very fast. Even though I had that client the second day, he never ended up buying that house. Me and Stanley lost his seller and I lost my buyer because my buyer couldn't qualify, and Stanley's client just got tired of it sitting on the market because, you know, it was Baltimore. And so he ended up losing that client. So, but with that, we were meant to meet, right? And I just saw the hustle in him, and I was like, I want to be like him. And how do I need to be like him? Well, I need to follow him every single day and figure out what he's doing, because I'm going to do the thing. So I started mimicking him. People say I'm a copycat of Stan. I don't care. I am a copycat. I copy everything he does. So I started mimicking him. I started following in his footsteps. I started showing up at his house at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we would be gone to like 9 o'clock at night. And I would just see his hustle. I mean, he was selling like close to like something like 70 to 80 houses a year. It was just ridiculous. And I wanted that, and I wanted the gratification of making a lot of money. So, and helping others, you know, I always wanted to help others. So helping find people houses or helping them sell their homes. So, so that's basically was my drive. I'm sorry, I started talking. I lost my train of thought.
No, absolutely. Real quickly, everyone wants to know, how much does a realtor make per commission on a house?
Okay, so an average realtor nationwide sells about 4 to 6 houses a year, and you can make about 40. I think the medium house realtor income in the country is like 45,000. It's not a lot. It's a lot of hard work. But if you know what you're doing and you master your craft, you could be making a lot of money. I make a lot of money selling houses. Let's say a house sells for $450,000. That's about $12,000 paycheck for me.
Nice. Fantastic. And so tell us, who is Shar now as you're going through your journey and God's speaking to you? You mentioned that God is giving you visions and dreams. What's the clarity that you have moving forward in terms of vision, or you know, do you have like a vision board? Do you believe in the law of attraction? Do you believe in visualization? Do you believe that, you know, I love that you mentioned about your best friend Stanley, that he's a hustler, that you love to hustle, because I talk a lot about that with my students. Find someone that you respect and admire.
Yes.
Follow what they do, reach out to them, follow what they're doing and learn from them and stuff like that. And, you know, you mentioned about being there at 7 o'clock at his house. Some of my students know that I set up appointments at 6 a.m. to see if you're serious, to see if you're really hungry, you know, and some students were still in bed while I was texting, hey man, I'm here, remember 6 o'clock. And so I've given some of my students some of a test like that to see how hungry you are. But tell us about you. What's your vision moving forward? Who are you, and what is it that you want? And I know you mentioned you want nice things, but what does that entail, the lifestyle that you're creating for yourself? Because I know that people here, you know, I always talk about, you got to have clarity about what do you want? What's the life that you want to create? There's nothing wrong with having a huge annual income. There's nothing wrong with you having the finer things in life, but dreaming about it. I love that your thing is vision without action is just a dream or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a dream. And if you don't do anything towards your dreams and put them into work, they just sit there as a daydream. For me, as a woman, now that I am successful and I feel like I made it, you know, I'm good. I want to give back. I want to give back to the people that got me here. I want to do so many things. Like when I say visions, I want to, like, you know, help people. And like the whole day trading thing, I had no idea that this was even going to happen in my life. Like like when COVID happened, he told me to get into the stock market. He told me to study the stock market, which I did. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to dump $25,000 into a day trading account and see what happens and just take a leap of faith and do it. But when I was doing it, I told God to use me, and I didn't even know what that meant. I was just like, use me. And if you go back and look through my Facebook posts, like you go back to March, you'll see that I'm like putting hashtag God use me. And I had no idea why I was even doing that. And then I get on Twitter. Mind you, I am the social media person of the whole brokerage, right? Because like, you know, I post all houses and I get, and social media works for me because I get a lot of leads that way and it's free. I don't have to pay for it. And I have people that are, you know, commenting and they're like, oh, she's a realtor. I have a friend who's a realtor and, you know, whatever. So that's been working for me for the past 6 years. And so I'm the social media person. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on all these things. And then I see Stanley on Twitter and I'm like, what is he doing on Twitter? And I see him tweeting stuff and I'm like, what is he doing? And I'm just like peeping over there like, okay, he's tweeting about stocks. I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, well, if they're going to tweet about stocks, I'm going to join in on the fun too. You know, why not? You know, everyone's tweeting about stocks and, you know, I'll join in. It's something to do, right? So I started tweeting about the stocks. I started retweeting him. I just started doing this thing. And then his Twitter followers went so bad. I think he just hit 80,000 today, 80,000 followers. That's huge.
That's right. That's huge.
Yeah. And so, you know, I'm going through this with him and I'm seeing him tweet. And I'm like, let me see what he's doing. And then so then I join in on the fun. I never in my life expected that God would take me on this journey. And it's just been amazing. So I started tweeting. I started doing my trades. And then I started making money. And then I started making a lot of money. And then I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, and then I started making lots of money. And I'm like, wow, is this real? This can't be real. Like, this is not real. And it is real. Like it happens, you know, you have to study your stocks, know what you're getting into. There's something that he told me, when entrepreneur is not enough, welcome to day trading. This is Stanley's quote. Welcome to day trading. He said 100% will fail. 90% will vanish and 10% will prevail. And it's so true because it's like that in real estate too. There's 10% of realtors that do 90% of the work. And that's because a lot of people can't keep up. You know, they don't write down their goals and they don't write down what they want and they don't have a vision board and they don't, you know, they're just all over the place. You know, you have to have a clear head and a clear mind. Once you have those things, like I said, surround yourself by the right people, you know, do your research, understand what you're getting yourself into and make sure you're ready for it. Everything else will fall into place. So that's just my thing. You know, I think anyone can do anything they want to do. They just have to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's open it up. Who has questions? I know you're all sending your questions on the group chat, but I want to give you the opportunity to speak directly to Shar.
Yeah.
Speak directly to her. Go for it.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so I know how you said that when you became a real estate agent, that was kind of your passion. That's what you wanted to do. But how exactly do you find your main passion if you like to do multiple things?
My main passion was to always help others, whether it was a philanthropist, whether it was doing PR, I was dealing with people. I loved real estate because I was getting paid for it. I was getting money for it. So when you're helping others and you're doing all this work, sometimes, you know, you might not get paid for it, or you might feel like you're used because you're doing all of this work and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, like I just want to have a nice dinner and I can't because I'm working so much and I'm not getting paid for it. And that was my life for a long time. I would do a lot of work for people and a lot of PR work for people, but never get paid for it. You know, I was just trying to build my name. But then when I found real estate, I was getting the money and the money was motivating me. It was motivating me. I'm not going to lie. It was good money. And so I decided that was my passion because I'm getting paid, I'm getting taken care of, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing because it's fun. And, it doesn't feel like work, right? Remember, that was the one thing I talked about. And so that's when I decided that this is what God wants me to do. And I'm a licensed professional, so which was even better. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question.
Hi, Shar.
Hi.
My name is Enrique.
Hi.
I love your story because I was also a salesman and I actually own a PR company myself.
Oh, nice.
All right.
So that I think that, you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but for me, what sparked my interest was when I took a random class at Long Beach City College 10 years ago. And I was like, this is my passion. And so I followed it. What sparked your interest entirely about PR? Because I think that was really cool similarity that you went to media.
For me, I like being around stars.
Yeah.
I like celebrity stuff. I love,
Totally.
let me tell you, when I came to LA, I was at the red carpet at the BET Awards, the Emmy Awards.
Yeah.
I was with my microphone. I was like, hey, it felt so amazing because you're around all these powerful people. I will never forget the day that I came to the BET Awards. The day before was when Michael Jackson died. So when I was going through LAX, every star was there because the next day was the BET Awards, and they did this big, huge honor for him and all this stuff, and it was really amazing. And so for me, the PR thing was like, I'm meeting significant people, high profile people. I'm meeting people like Beyonce and Idris Elba and like Rick Ross and all of these people that like most people would die to meet,
Mm-hmm.
And here I am and it was like a star thing for me, but it felt good because I felt like I belonged with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was my big passion about doing PR work. And then I would take people that were aspiring singers or artists or whatever, and I would try to put them with the leads,
Yeah, that's hard. Singers. That's
it is, and you got to know. And with PR, it's all about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then I always tell people it's not about who you know; it's about who knows you. So you just have to go out there. And if you're in LA, you guys are in LA, right? And
yes.
Okay, so you guys are in a great area. I mean, Hollywood's right there, and you just got to go mingle and meet people.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. That was awesome.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Next question.
I have a question. So you know how you said something about 8 days, and the 8th day you did an exam?
Yes.
All right. Did you visualize yourself passing the exam or not?
Yes.
Were you confident on yourself?
I was, because I wanted it so bad. When you want something so bad, you don't care what any noise around you. You're gonna try. I mean, I had my parents tell me that this is not what I need to go back to work. I need to apply for a job. I had people telling me that you'll never pass in 8 days, like it's unheard of. The guy that was going to hire me, he even said, the one that didn't hire me as the broker, he said he was going on vacation. Well, that guy, he told me, he was like, you're never going to pass in 8 days. No one has ever done that. And I'm like, well, I am, and so you have to just be confident, and then you have to prove people wrong. So for me, that's what it felt like. And I was making sure that I studied. And if I didn't understand, because there's a lot of stuff in real estate, like the laws and the language and stuff like that, because I'm not sure how it is in California as a realtor, but here you do everything. Like in New York, you have a lawyer that works with you, and they write the contracts. But here you do everything. You write the contracts and everything. So if I didn't understand something, I was Googling it or YouTubing it, and I was studying it. So I'm always better as a self-taught person. I'm a visual learner, so I have to watch it and see it and then write it down. I can't really go by what other people are telling me to learn. I wasn't always the best student, but I was the best worker. So I really wanted it. So
talk about more about that, in that, you weren't the best student. Talk about your experience in college. What did you take away from college? What did you think you didn't get from college? You have an MBA, But then also, you know, like I tell my students, you got to be a lifelong learner. You got to be curious. You got to be self-taught, right?
Yes.
And could you expound on that? And then the other thing is, you know, I wasn't a great student either. And I actually cheated my way through high school, right? I paid people to do my work for me. But when I got to college, I was like, oh, wow, I got to learn. And I was willing to start at the bottom. And but I've always been a lifelong learner. But key point you mentioned was you had your work ethic. Your work ethic and your drive and your motivation. Expound on that.
Yes. I was always a worker. I was a workhorse. I've been working since I was 14 years old. My first job was at Old Navy, and I also had a job at Kmart. I had 2 jobs because I wanted the discounts. I wanted the discounts on my products, and I wanted the discounts on my clothes. And you know, so I always had a job. But in high school, I was a good student because it was easy for me. Because, you know, I wanted, you know, you just want to prove your parents and stuff. When I went away to college, I went to Georgetown College in Kentucky. I was not the best student. I was sheltered all my life because my family, my father's a minister. So when I went away to college, I was all about parties. It was all about going into the world and figuring yourself out. So I wasn't the best student. And I realized that when I just literally skimmed through it, you know, like, I'm not gonna lie, skimmed through it. I wasn't the best student. Getting my degree at University of Phoenix, same thing, you know, it was an online program. I would just be like, click, 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 okay, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But I got most of my skills with dealing with people and having jobs and having the right mentors and having the right professors, you know, like talking to them. You can give me a book and you could tell me to learn something and I probably won't do it. But if it's something that interests me and I want it bad enough, it's a whole different story, you know? So that's just how I learn, and that's just who I am. And my worth ethic, if it's something that I love to do, I mean, you know, there's been jobs where I've had jobs where I'm just like, you know, is it 5 o'clock yet? I'm ready to get out of here. You know, I'm just there because I'm getting paid a salary or hourly and it's just a job. But when it's something that you're passionate about, you're going to work around the clock. Like when I get off the phone with you guys tonight, I'm going to write an offer for my client.
And it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast.
It is, and I'm going to get this offer out because it's a bidding war, and I got my lender to send me the pre-approval and the worksheet tonight, right before this call. And I told my client, I'm like, I'm gonna stay up all night, and I'm gonna make this offer happen for you. We have a very strong offer that we're preparing, and I'm gonna get him this house. And so, because I'm not scared, most realtors would shy away and walk away when someone tells them they have multiple offers coming in. I'm not that. I'm good. You know, they call me the queen of the bidding wars. So unless it's a cash offer, I think I'll be okay.
Nice.
So
next questions. I know Monica, you have a question. You dropped a big question. Jason, anyone? Go ahead and jump in.
Hi, Shar. I was wondering, when you became like the new I can't say it.
Realtor?
Realtor, yes. Did you ever feel like you were good at it, or were there times where you wanted to give up?
Oh man, there was times where I would lose an offer, you know, and I wouldn't understand why, or I would have a client that put me through a goose chase and I would understand why. And because you work, and I wanted that paycheck, you know, I wanted that $8,000 or the $10,000 or whatever I was working for. And it was like, you know, they would give me the runarounds, whether it was the deal itself or it was the client and they have cold feet. In those times, I never wanted to give up. I always had a way of telling them like, hey, you're buying a house. This is your first time buying a house. You need a house to live over. You know, I always was a pursuer, you know, like I always tried to pursue people, not like to hold their neck and say, buy this house, but, you know, just to let them see the benefits of buying a house, you know, like before I even take you out shopping for a house, I'm having a 45-minute conversation with you, face to face and I'm going over a PowerPoint presentation. Most realtors don't do that because it's a waste of time, you know, if the client doesn't want to use you or they go out with somebody else. For me, it's very, very beneficial. It makes me secure them and makes them want to work with me as much as I want to work with them. So during that presentation, I'm asking them, you know, what's your goals? Why do you want to own a house? You know, you're paying, I don't know, $1,600 a month for rent, but you could be paying that towards your mortgage. And I always tell people, you're always paying a mortgage, whether it's yours or your landlord's, you know? So, yeah. So being a realtor, there was never a time where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. No, because
what was it like making your first sale? And it's different, right? Because you said that you don't get paid until the sale happens. So
yes.
what's it, talk to the group about, because some people, when you have a 9-to-5 job, you get paid every bi-weekly. There's always a paycheck there. But when you're an entrepreneur,
yes,
if you're not out working or planting seeds so you can eat the fruit at some point,
yes.
you're not getting paid, and you're going to go hungry, or you're going to go eat at Taco Bell and things like that. So what's it like? But then on the other flip side, the beauty of it is that you can make unlimited income potential.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Talk about that.
So my first sale came actually in 2015. So I met Stanley July of 2014, and I was hustling. I was putting my name out there. I'm a realtor. I'm no longer the PR girl or the party girl or whatever people thought of me, right? So I was out here and I was like, you have to show who you are and why you're doing this. So I'm a realtor. Every day I was posting something about real estate on Facebook. I was posting, even if Stanley was like, go hang a lockbox on one of my properties, I would post that. I'll be like, oh, here we go. And I asked him if I could do all the open houses. So he had a lot of properties that he would list for sale. And I would be like, hey, can I do your open house on Sunday? So I would do all these open houses. I have a book. A lot of people that came to the open houses didn't have realtors. A lot of people don't even know if they're buying their first house, they don't know where to go to find a realtor. And that was my opportunity of getting leads, coming to me, and they're seeing me face to face at an open house. I was very successful. I started building my little book of all these people that I was meeting and they didn't have realtors, and I was doing follow-ups with them, and I would help them, like if they needed a lender, or I would give them advice. And finally, I had a beautiful couple that I met in November. They came to one of Stanley's open houses. I asked them if they had a realtor, and they said no. And I said, I would love to be a realtor. I'd love to help you. And they were like, sure, you could help us. And then they found actually a bigger house in Frederick. And I worked with them. I showed them like 4 houses. And they closed on their first house January 8th of 2015, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas. And I will never forget them. They were, so that was my first deal. And I think my commission check was $12,000. So it was great because I didn't get paid all of 2014. I was broke. So when you get that first check, you're like, you got to pay. I had to pay.
Is that check framed? I always tell my students that your first sale, you're going to treasure your first sale.
I still do have that check. I do. Yeah, I have the stub.
That's awesome. Next question.
Hi, Shar. My name is Vanessa.
Hi.
I have a question regarding, you mentioned your mentor gave you a book or told you to read a book regarding, the day trading or investing. What was the name of that book?
He just told me to get information. The book that I got was Stock Investing for Dummies, because I've never did stocks before. I'm a realtor, so I don't know I don't know any of the terminology or anything. So I was like, oh, let me just get this book. So that's the book I got. Stock trading for stock. I keep messing this up. It's Stock Investing for Dummies.
Got it. Thank you.
But any of the dummy books work. You could do swing trading for dummies, trading for dummies. All of them will do the same thing.
And do you do it every day, or how many hours a day do you invest?
Well, it's all about like the hot stock, right? So whatever's hot for the day. So I don't watch TV, but I do watch the news. So when I wake up at 6:30, 6 o'clock, you know, I brush my teeth, whatever, I come downstairs, I make my coffee, I turn on the news, and I turn it on Fox Business because they have the whole market thing going. So I see what the market's doing for the day, whether it's going to be a red market, whether it's a green market, what's going on in the Asian market, what's going on in the Europe market, because they're like hours ahead of us. So I'm always paying attention, and then I'm seeing what the news is. Like today's news was all about mail-in ballots, and President Trump tweeted something crazy and it crashed the market in the morning. And, you know, there was and the earning calls, you know, all the big tech companies and everybody was sending in their earnings for the second quarter. So, you know, the country was, you know, the second quarter earnings were really bad in the last 70 years. So it took the market on a red road today, but it started bouncing back in the afternoon. So, you know, it's just watching that. I'm a day trader, so I'm in and out. I might be swinging some stuff, but it's very, very rare that I swing. If I'm swinging, it's a hot stock and it's got momentum. But other than that, you know, I'm collecting my coins. Like I said in my Wall Street Journal interview, I'm collecting my coins and I'm building my account.
All right, thank you.
You're
Can you
welcome.
talk a little bit more about what you do in day trading? What's the typical morning for you in the sense of how do you go about? I know you do first, and then you invest, and then how many hours or how long do you leave it in, and then take it out and take your earnings and walk away?
You don't want to put your market order in and buy some stocks and go make waffles. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to like, that's not what you want to do. You want to pay attention, because this is a very volatile, like, I'm playing with small caps. I'm not like buying like Amazon stock or anything. I'm buying small cap stocks. So like, you know, anything under $5, you know. So these stocks are volatile. You know, they're playing off the news. So, you know, if I'm in a stock, I'm buying a lot of it. So I'm buying maybe 20,000 shares or 40,000 shares of this one stock, and I'm watching it. So I'm, you know, if it's going down, I am cutting my losses quickly and being done. Watching the charts, making sure that it's still got momentum. So I'm just paying attention. You can literally lose all your money if you don't pay attention. So if you're going into the stock market and you're buying a stock, you really want to pay attention and watch it until you're done with that trade. So if it's a trade that I'm buying and I'm holding overnight, then, you know, I'm still watching it, but not as like a hawk. I'm just watching it maybe every 2 hours on my phone or whatever. But if it's something that, you know, it's going to run, and you'll hear people talk about that on Twitter, that it's going to run today, or it's on fire, or it's about to go. You want to pay attention to it because you want to be able to set your order to sell it really quickly.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question.
I have a question. Was Haiti your first place to travel?
No. This was my first mission trip outside this country, yes, but it was not my first place to travel.
Talk about the importance of traveling. I like to share in my class that traveling is one of the best educations, because you learn a lot about visiting a different country, you know, the architecture, the language, the culture, you know, the history, currency, everything. And, you know, a lot of people, especially Americans, don't travel a lot compared to Europeans or compared to people from other countries, where traveling it's something that they do all the time.
Yeah, I was born in India. So I came here when I was 7 years old in 1989. And I always loved to travel. That was my thing. I get it from my dad. He likes to travel. He was a missionary for so many years. He liked to go to all these different places, and I get that from him. I think when you are well-traveled and you learn about different cultures and different ethnicities and different food types and stuff, you will definitely broaden your horizon and your mind, and you would be able to adapt with anyone. Like you could take me and you could put me in the middle of Korea and I will be fine. You could take me and put me in Africa and I'll be fine. If you put me in a jungle, I'll probably scream for the crap of my life. But you know, like seriously, you have to be able to adapt. And I think right now with the way that things are in this country, there's a lot of people that are just one-sided or the other sided. You know, I always tell people there's no politics in stocks, you know, there's no politics in being successful, because you want to be able to be friends with everyone. You know, you might have your own views and that's okay, but you know, you want to be, in order to be a good business minded person and promote your services and whatever, like if you want to go into business world, you just have to be neutral. So well traveled it'll really help that.
Next question.
Yes, I have a question. Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to know, is there anything that you learned as a realtor or real estate agent throughout the years that you wish you would have learned or know about since the beginning of your journey?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wouldn't have made a lot of mistakes. I should have, like, okay, so when I was a realtor, when I first started off, I would come home, I would write the offer, and then I would go meet my client and I would sit down with them, go over it, and have them sign it in front of me. And I didn't realize there was something called DocuSign. You know, it would have saved me a lot of time. And one time, I literally lost a client because I didn't know anything about DocuSign. It was raining really hard. It was about 45 minutes away from my house. I went and showed them this house. They called me and they wanted to see it for the second time. I went and showed it to them the second time. The realtor's like, well, I need the offer in 2 hours because I need to present it to my sellers. And I lost out because I thought I had to come home and print out the 80-page offer, take it to my clients, have them sign after I just met with them twice, you know? So time, you know, I missed out, you know, I couldn't get the offer in on time. So that was one mistake. I didn't know about things. What else? I mean, there were so many different things like that happened. And now I'm like, oh, don't make, you know, I have a guy that I mentor, Joshua, and I don't know if he's on this call, but I tell him, like, you know, everything that I learned so he can understand, so he doesn't, you know, have to go through those things again, you know? So, yeah, of course,
Okay.
you always have mistakes that you learn from.
I do have another question. Like if somebody is interested in becoming a real estate agent, and after getting their license, and if they don't know anyone in that field, I mean, how do they get started as a real estate agent?
Well, you would have to call your local state where you're located. If you're in California, you would have to call your local area and see, you know, where the real estate classes are offered for that area, like the local real estate commission board for California. Get licensed in California. Once you're licensed, get with a group of people that are already licensed and have them mentor you. You might have to pay them a mentorship fee on every house that you sell, but let me tell you, it's going to work out. You're going to make new friends. You're going to meet new people, and someone's going to take you on because you're going to sell a house and they're going to get paid. So
talk about I'm glad that's a perfect segue, because I wanted to ask you about mentorship. Talk about how important was having Stan as your mentor. How did you develop that relationship, and what are the parameters, or what did you tell him, this is what I need from you? Or some students don't know how to find mentors. Can you share with them what are ways they could go about finding mentors? Who should we look for mentors? I always tell them, if you want to learn about stocks, don't go to your broke friends or people that have never even bought a stock. You know what I mean? So don't select mentors if they're not doing what it is that you're trying to learn. But I speak highly of the fact that the value of mentors. I've been fortunate to have a lot of mentors in my life. I still have mentors now.
Yes.
I have a number of mentors for a variety of different things. My 14-year-old son has about 4 or 5 different mentors, from
Yes.
business people to other areas and things like that. And I can see he's benefiting tremendously from the value of other mentors, so that he's not just getting dad's point of view about things. You know,
Right.
So talk about the importance of mentors, Stanley, and what he's done for you, and then how to find a good mentor. What do we need to do? How do we set the parameters, things like that? And then how have you been as a mentor? You mentioned that you're mentoring somebody.
Yes.
How's that relationship or things like that?
Stanley was God sent. I mean, there's no question about it. He was God sent. I wasn't looking for him and he wasn't looking for me, and we just found each other, and it's just been an amazing ride. He wasn't looking to mentor anyone. He will never mentor another person. That's not his personality. Like, you know, even when we have agents come on board, you know, he doesn't hire any newbies, like any new freshly licensed agents, because he just doesn't have the time. He has 3 small children, and you know, he just doesn't have the time, and he's not really like a teacher, you know. With me, he just threw me out there to the wolves, and you know, I adapted quickly because I wanted it so bad. But when you're looking for a mentor, you want someone that is successful. You know, you want to follow in their footsteps. You want to see exactly what they're doing to make sure it's the same style like you. You know, you want someone that's just like you. If you're an introvert, you need an introvert mentor. You can't be with someone that's loud and an extrovert, because it's not going to clash. It's not going to work out, you know? With me and Stan, we had the same type of personality, and we had the same like-mindedness of finding the right goals and having the goal is to make money. You know, that was our thing. Like, I have never been broke since I met this man. He has put money into my pockets. Like, I can't even tell you, like, you know, he wanted it as much as I wanted it for myself. You know, there's a lot of mentors that might not want it for you. They're just doing it because they're getting paid. He's never taken money out of my pockets. You know, even still today, I'm 100% with him. So every house I sell, he gets me keep all of the commission. You know, I do pay a broker fee, but like, you know, because every agent has to pay a broker fee, which is nothing. But he's never been the type to take money from me. And that's what I loved about him, because he knew that I was going to be successful, because he knew like I had a drive, but he didn't take advantage of that drive. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you want to find someone that is driven, that is successful, that is a go-getter. You know, you want someone that's going to blend well with you and that wants to take you on, that wants to help you. And you know, I hear a lot of horrible stories about people's mentors and how they disappear and they don't talk to them, and they're supposed to do a call with them at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays and they haven't heard from them in 2 weeks. You want someone that's going to give you that time, you know, that wants to help you better your craft by them giving you a thing. And I always feel like, for me, being a mentor now to Joshua, and helping him get in, because, you know, he's a police officer. So now he's trying to transition from that into becoming a realtor, and he's doing a great job. And, you know, it's not easy because you have to answer a bunch of questions, right? But you have to put yourself in his shoes, because that was you one day. And I think as being a mentor is an honor. And because if they win and they're successful, then you win. And I'm truly a believer in that. I feel like you have to give back in some way. And just like Stanley did it for me, I'm going to do it for him. And then hopefully one day he does it for somebody else. And that's how we make the world go round. So that's my whole thing about mentorship. You really, really need to find someone that's just like you, that has the same personality as you, that's a go-getter, that's someone that's really successful, and you want to be like them.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah. Any other questions? Next question.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, I was gonna ask, what's the most expensive house you have sold?
1.5 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
And approximately
I sold it
what?
twice. I sold it twice.
Oh wow, that's your money. That's your money tree.
Yeah, my clients bought it from
and
me,
what's
and then 2 years later, I had to sell it for them. So.
And what's a commission on that approximately?
So the first time they bought it from me was $950, and then I turned around and sold it for, I think it was 1 point something. I listed it for 1.5, but I think I ended up selling it for much less than that because it was during December and in the winter time. But anyway, I think it was like $25,000 or $23,000, something like that.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
on that note, we have some people here that are they're thinking about being first-time buyers. Is now a good time? Is now a good time to get into real estate? What do you think? What do you think about the California market? It's extremely expensive around here.
It is.
And
Man, I
how
don't know
much
how
money?
you
How much money do you need down, or do you advise people to buy real estate out of state?
California is really expensive. I have friends in California, and they live like in a shoebox, and I can't believe how much money they spend on their apartments and how much they, whatever. So, California is tough, especially Los Angeles County, I believe. If you can go a little bit further out and you don't mind commuting for work, or maybe you work from home most of the time, I suggest you go out and look for a nice property because you'll get more for your buck. Is it a great time to buy? It really is, because the feds have pumped the market. The Federal Reserves, they have pumped the market so much, so they're keeping the interest rates super low. Like today, the guy that I'm writing an offer for, he got an interest rate for 2.8. It's free money, So is it a great time to buy? Yes, but what the problems you're going to find is that it's also, since there's a lot of buyers out here that can buy houses, you're going to find yourself, if you find a house that you like, you're going to have 10 other people that like the house too. So there's not a lot of inventory, unfortunately.
And what tips would you advise someone and they're getting into a bidding war, what's some negotiation tactics or ways that they could sweeten their offer better than the other 9?
Oh man, I hope none of my competitors are on this call. I make really creative offers. One thing I like to do is I like to have my buyers write a letter to the seller, and maybe if they, put a picture of their family on top of the letter, and that will be the first page of the offer.
Emotional appeal.
Get the
appeal
offer,
to emotions.
that's the first
Yes.
thing.
That's persuasion, folks. That's persuasion.
So
appeal to emotions. Yes. I like that.
So that's the first thing that they're reading. And then, if it's something, there's so many different things that you can do to make your offer creative. It's not about the money always. It's about different things. You can do a home inspection before the offer, then that way the home inspection contingency goes away, which is really nice.
Nice. Fantastic. How much does someone really need at minimum put down?
So there's 4 types of loans. If you're a buyer, there's conventional. Conventional is 5% down. There are some programs where you could do 3% down. You just need to have a credit score of 760 or higher, depending on the lender. There's FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration, and they give a loan, and it's 3.5% down. And then there's VA, and the only people that can qualify for that is military. And then the last one is USDA. So USDA is 0% down. VA is also 0% down. USDA is also 0% down. And you have to find a house in an area that's 10,000 or less. Unfortunately, I'm not sure Los Angeles County is 10,000 or less. So.
Right, exactly. Any other questions for Shar? Anyone have any other questions?
I have a question.
Hi.
Hi. How long does it take for you to sell a house to get paid?
Usually it's about 30 days on a transaction. So let's see, it takes about 30 days to buy a house, And sometimes it could take shorter. Like the offer I'm about to write tonight, we're trying to close it in 20 days to make our offer strong. Yeah, but usually 30 days in this area.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question in terms of like visualization and finding your direction in life, because you know, I do have big dreams and I do have big ideas, but you know, some days I just feel lost in like how I'm gonna get there and what I need to do to get there.
Right.
So how do you like how do you, I know we discussed the whole visualization thing, but like,
Yeah.
how do you keep yourself in a positive mind space to like, you know, keep going and exactly keep your direction and where you're going in life?
You know, I always like to be jolly. That's who I am. I really like to have fun. And I really like to just be happy all the time, because I don't like to be in a bad mood, because you don't want me in a bad mood. When I'm in a bad mood, I'm just not a fun person to be around. So I think having the right spirit and having a joyful heart is key. You know, to trying to figure out what your direction you're trying to do. And also just, you know, whatever your faith is, you know, I'm a very faith driven person. So I'm always asking God to show me the way or show me where I need to go. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, because I'm not. I'm human and we all make mistakes. But, you know, when things go wrong in your life, you might want to quit and not push forward. And you might just be like, I'm done with everything. And I've been there. We all have. But, you know, you have to pick yourself up and you just have to have the right spirit. And I think once you have the right attitude and the right spirit and being an optimistic person, it'll be fine.
Shar, just because I feel like you and I relate a lot, would you, to add to what you said, and you can probably touch off of this one, is accepting the failures to whatever happens in life. I think in being patient and working with your mentor is probably, I think, a key, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your failures are your building blocks. You know, I have had so many failures. I've had so many things that have happened in my life, you know, where people are just mean and, you know, people walk away and you don't understand why, because, you know, you're just back, you know, there's the people that are going to be envious of you. You make a lot of money and, you know, you are doing your thing and, you know, they're still struggling. So they give you the evil eyes, you know. But and there's going to be times where you're just going to fail too, and you're going to fall, and you're not going to be the perfect agent, or you're not going to be the perfect day trader, or you're not going to be the perfect, you know, baker. Your cake might flop and your clients might get pissed. So, you know, those are building blocks, and those blocks build because you learn and you stand on top of them and you continue to grow and become a really great person, you know. So I tell everyone, like, if that, you know, I don't want to hear about, you know, all the negativity, you know, like, let's move on. You know, I'm quick. I'm just like with my stock trading. I cut my losses quickly, you know. You know, I buy a stock. I spent a lot of money. I was telling my dad today how much money I've put into the stock market in and out, and his head was probably like spinning. But, you know, you got to cut your losses. And same thing with people. Like, you know, if you have someone that's just like bringing you down, they're not giving you words of affirmation, they're not, you know, speaking life into you, cut them off.
No, I'm glad you touched on that, because I talk about with some of my classes the law of association, you know, the law of five, or the law of association, that you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with, right?
Yes.
How important is that in your life, and who are the 5 people that you associate with that have the biggest influence in you? Because I think that was the hardest lesson that was the hardest law that I had to learn, is to let go of the dead weight of friends that were not going to go anywhere. They weren't driven. They didn't want anything out of life. They're still there where they're at, where I left them years ago, you know, and now I'm very,
it's true.
And I think especially the younger students, it's all about friendships and socializing, right? But I always tell them, who are the 5 people you're hanging around with? Who's the influences in your life? Because you're going to become the 6th person, or they're going to influence your decision making and what whether you succeed or fail.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if I have 5. I mean, I have my best friends. I have Nikki and Elana, and then I have Mira, and then I have my mom and dad, and then I have Stan. You know, everyone has a purpose in my life, you know, whether they're my best friends that I can go out and, you know, have dinner with, my girlfriends, and then I have my parents who are like my best friends, you know, because we're older now and, you know, they're my best friends. And then I have Stanley, who's like my best friend, my mentor. I could talk to him about anything, literally anything. And you have to have people that celebrate you. And I had to find this out the hard way. When they don't celebrate and clap with you, when you are shining, whether you are achieving stuff and you find that they're not happy for you, cut them off. I'm telling you, like, it literally, because it's gonna fester. And I always wanted to be, I'm a people pleaser, and I always wanted to love on all my friends. But then I realized that not all my friends had the same intentions. And I still love them very much so still today, because, you know, those were my experiences and I have memories with them, but not everyone's gonna grow with you, unfortunately. And when they say it's lonely at the top, yes, but it's also very peaceful and joyful. You know? So,
amen to that. Talk about that. Expand a little bit more about that. Not everybody's going to grow with you.
They're not.
Deep.
You know, you're going to have friends from high school, from college, from, you know, different jobs. Your coworkers become your friends. You're going to meet people. I mean, that's who we are. I'm an extrovert. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to become friends with them. Not everyone is going to grow with you. Not everyone's destined to grow with you. You know, you can help them, but, you know, I always tell people you could take a camel to the water, but you can't make it drink, you know? So not everyone's going to be happy for you. And that's just part of life. You know, people get jealous and people get envious and people, you know, but then there's also people that love you and they are celebrating with you and they're so happy for you and they're sharing all your success and like they're praising you, and
yes,
it's amazing, you know. So you have both, you know.
Talk
and there's
about,
some people that just don't get what's going on, you know, like I'm going through that right now and they're just like, what is she doing? You know, they don't understand it.
Talk about how did you land the Wall Street Journal opportunity and then
Oh my gosh,
being on Fox Business News with Charles Payne. I love Charles. I'm reading his book right now, Unstoppable Prosperity. And, you know, how did that come about? And did you get a lot of love? Did you get a lot of jealousy? Did you get a lot of...
Yes. So, no, I got a lot of love, I think. I think there's still people, I was always a social media person, so I think I'm getting a lot of love on Twitter, obviously. But you know, I have a lot of followers on Twitter. My Facebook, I don't know, because you know these people have seen me go through my struggles. They've seen me go through my explosions. They've seen me go through all these different things. I'm a very open book. I've been an open book since I've had my Facebook since 2009. So they've seen me as like this, you know, party promoter. They've seen me as this philanthropist going to Haiti. So I don't know where they are, because some of them are my close friends that I've known for a long time, and they're just like, what is she doing? And then, you know, I think it was such an honor to be on the Wall Street Journal. I mean, I just thought I was going to be in an article. I didn't think about day traders. I didn't think they were going to make me the cover. And when people started like texting me and calling me, they're like, oh my God, I opened up my app, because the app is, I think it's included in your iPhone, I believe. So when they opened it, they were like, you're on the freaking front page. I'm like, no way. You know, I didn't believe them because it wasn't like that in the morning when we got the link to the article. I believe it was like o'clock when Stanley sent it to me. And it was not like that. And then throughout the day, they just made me the front picture. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And it's an achievement because there's so many people in business that have been doing it for decades, you know, and to get that type of recognition, like off the bat, is just, I'm really grateful and humbled. I mean, I'm not taking it for granted. So as far as like people, yeah, it's been really nice to see people congratulate and be happy for you. And because they know, one thing I will say is, whether you're a hater of Shar or whether there's no in between. You either love me or you hate me, whatever it is. One thing they all know is that I'm a hard worker and I never stop working. I am a workhorse. I've always worked. My friends will be like, come on, let's go out, hang out. I'm working, I'm dealing with a client. So most of the time my clients become like my friends because I'm working with them. So, yeah. So, no, it was nothing but positive feedback. The way that they found me was actually on Twitter. Michael, the Wall Street journalist, he was doing an article and he was looking for day traders because E-Trade, Webull, and Robinhood, the brokers for the stock market, they've had a fluctuation of number of people signing up for these accounts in in history.
In history, yeah. I think Robinhood had over 1 million new subscribers
it's insane because
recently.
People have been home. Like you guys are home. You guys are not in school because of COVID, and there's people that are sitting at home that are not going to work, and they're using their stimulus checks to make money off the stock market. And there's so many people that join, and no one's, and Wall Street doesn't know what the heck's going on, So they're just a little nervous and scared. So he's doing this story, and I happened to email him, and I was just like, whatever. I was like, whatever. And I knew Stanley had a story from his, for me, it's all about him because, he's been through a lot with his health issues and getting a new kidney and a new life, and just the whole, that itself is like an amazing thing, and how he overcame. He's 42 years old, and God has been really blessing him. And using him. So for me, I was like, I want to put him on the pedestal. He deserves this. He's been a broker. He's helped so many people. He used to be a police officer. He got a kidney. He got a new life, and people thought his real estate career was over because he went through a massive surgery. And I was like, I want him to showcase because he literally took over the stock world. He got 80,000. He's at 80,000 followers right now. So I was like, he started this, and he just started making friends with all these traders, and just started growing, and everyone loves him. So I really wanted that for him. And he was in the article too, but then they ended up featuring me, and he's so happy for me. And I'm like, okay. And then the whole Charles Payne thing is that I tweeted Charles Payne because I watch him.
What I love about Charles, he does reply back. He replies back. He retweets you. I've tweeted Charles, and we chat a little bit, but he's a busy guy, and but he's a great guy.
And I've been watching Charles for a very long time, even before I did stocks, because I like to watch the news, and I love Fox Business. I don't like Fox or CNN, but I love Fox Business because they're pretty accurate with their stuff.
Absolutely.
So I started watching him, and one day I was watching him, and he was getting ready for, he comes on at 2:00 right before Power Hour, and Power Hour in the stock market is from 3 to 4.
Yes.
So I don't remember what he was covering, but it was so good. And I tweeted him, and he was like, thanks. And I'm like, oh, and then next thing you know, he followed me, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's awesome. So then I just took it upon myself to introduce myself to him and say hi. And we started this conversation going. And when I landed on the Wall Street Journal, I sent him the article, and he was like, oh, wow. He's like, I need to have you on the show. And I was like, I would love to come on. And that's how that happened. And we're actually going to go back on there. We are friends now. So, he wants us to come back and talk about more of our journey and all that good stuff. So.
Absolutely. I tweeted to him that he needs to have you and Stand Back, the millennial traders of the week, to give a forecast and stuff. And I recorded it. I recorded the segment. So you have to let me know when you're coming on again, because I want to record it again.
Yes.
And then show it to my students and stuff. But any other questions out there? Keep the conversation going. Keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
State your name and what's your question.
Oh yeah, my apologies. So yeah, my name is Brandon Garcia.
Hi, Brandon.
Hello. And yeah, I mean like so it's kind of like just two different questions. But the first question I wanted to ask was you know, when it comes to selling selling houses, is it more so like you're doing multiples you're selling multiple houses at once, or how does it work? I'm trying to visualize
Yeah,
it.
I have about like 4 or 5 houses under contract at the same time. So I'm working with like multiple clients.
Got you. And another thing I wanted to ask too is, I mean, like, what was it that really, and I can't remember if you kind of spoke about this or not, but when you were unemployed, you know, when you're at the very bottom, at like when everyone was just doubting you, can you remember that specific moment where you just decided like, no, I want to change this, you know, like
Oh, of
I want
course.
something better.
I'll never forget that.
And tell us the people that thought you were crazy for wanting to go in a different direction and stuff like that.
My parents probably were my number, you know, their number one critique. You know, I don't think a lot of my friends knew that, thought that I could even sell houses. You know, I think they're pleasantly surprised now. You know, but a lot of people do underestimate you, and then when you do it, they're like, wow, you know. So yeah, I mean, you know, you're gonna have critiques. The biggest critiques are gonna probably be your family and friends. That's just how life is.
And what is it that someone needs? Because I know that when I started my first business, my parents thought I was crazy and it was a crazy thing to do, but I felt a strong pull to do it. And even against, oftentimes you're almost at that fork in the road where some people cave in and say, okay, I won't do it. And then some of us actually, you know, whether it's stubbornness or whether it's like, no, I really got to try this, I really got to do this. And then it works out. And then my parents now believe it because they see the success, they see the checks, they see that it worked. Even, and a lot of times entrepreneurs, they don't have to have degrees in an industry and things like that, you know.
My degree. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you just,
I mean,
you know,
you started day trading from stocks for dummies. You know what I mean? That's your degree.
That's why Wall Street is just not liking us, you know, because it's like, who are these people? Like, you know, like people tell you that you need to go to school for learning the stock market. It's like 2-3 years of schooling and like learning and all this. You don't, you know, that's what they want you to think. You know, a lot of people, they want you to think that, you know, they want you to think that it takes, you know, all this stuff and you need to learn all these things and you need to have like, you know, you need to pay for all these classes. I mean, there's traders that charge you $7,000 and things like that just to learn, when there's information out there for free. You know, Google is my best friend. You know, Alexa is my best friend. And I ask them every day, like, hey, you know, what does this mean? Or what is that? You know, you can find anything out there, you know. Like, for example, today, Trump talked about plasma. They need plasma donations. So it's on the COVID, coronavirus.gov, which is a new website by the government. And you can go on there and you could figure out where you could donate plasma, because they're using plasma to create the next whatever, medicine or whatever. The vaccine, not the vaccine, but the medicine. So when I heard that, and then I heard that they were going to be partnering up with the Red Cross, and they're going to be using commercial bio labs. I was like, well, wait, like, you know, ding, 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 ding. And I started researching to find different plasma labs. And I wanted to find the next stock. You know, I'm dealing with small cap. So I'm only dealing with stocks that are under $5, right? So I'm looking for it and I'm searching for it. And I looked for it for like about an hour, and I found it, you know, TTOO, you know, and I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like calling the company, and they're like, oh, we'll call you back. And, you know, and the stock went from like 58 cents all the way up to 74, you know, and I'm tweeting about it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is huge, you know, and I don't know what I'm not sure if it's going to crash tomorrow or whatever, but it's on a momentum. And, you know, imagine if that stock or that company gets like a government contract or something crazy, you know?
Sure.
And so, you know, you could find anything on the internet. Like
No,
literally.
you brought up a good point because, you know, I follow your account. I still haven't gotten a follow back from you, so I hope you follow me back now.
I'll follow you back, of course.
You got to follow the man back, right?
Yes.
But one of the things that I appreciate about you as a day trader, and it's something that couple things. One, you always talk about the importance of doing your research and information gathering. And two, you just said it about connecting the dots. I always talk to my students that you have to be able to take knowledge and information and connect the dots because it gives you clues and patterns of what's coming. Can you talk about that process for you? And, you know, I love how you just said you heard it on the news that Trump was talking about plasma. Since I teach from home, I got Fox Business News on from the time Maria Bartiromo's on at 3 o'clock in the morning, all the way till 5 o'clock in the evening, you know, and it doesn't, and I'm watching it all the time. And I did hear the president talk about plasma donation and things like that. But I loved how you said that just triggered a clue or a green flag, and it started getting your brain to start connecting the dots. Ooh, Red Cross, who's the vendor, who's the contractor. A prime example of that is I missed the whole Kodak thing. You know what I mean? I missed the whole Kodak thing. I think
we all did.
I didn't get into it. And then I was like, oh my God, it was $2 a share the other day. And it shot up all the way to $56. And then it dropped, I think when they stopped the trading, and then it dropped half of that to 26, I think, or something like that. But it goes to show you the value of information, the value of curiosity. And talk about how your brain works when you're doing research and gathering information and putting it together like a puzzle to make your decisions about things.
You know, with that one, it was just like I heard commercial biolabs. Those were the 3 words that I heard. And I knew that I was already in a lot of biotech pharma stocks right now, like, you know, IBIO, OGEN, KTOV, HBXT. I mean, I'm in all these different stocks, like different companies that are doing amazing things for COVID, like a lot of COVID plays right now. And I'm investing a lot of money into them. And when I heard that, I was like, there's got to be a plasma lab somewhere, you know, in the United States. And I'm looking, and there was, it literally just came up, you know, like I Googled plasma lab, you know, stock, you know, plasma lab stock. And it was a list of stuff that came up, and I sent it to Stanley, and I'm like, look at this. And he's like, well, start researching it. And I started researching each stock number. One of the stocks was already at like $180, and I knew that wasn't what we played. You know, we do small caps. So I found the TTOO. It was rated D because they don't have good PR, which is fine because I'll help them. You know, with my tweets. But I found them, and I was like, okay, so let me see what they're about. So then I went to their website, I started researching, and then I started going on Twitter, and I started seeing if anybody else was into these stocks. And there was people that were already playing these stocks, but they don't, you know, it's not like they're promoting it or anything, but they're just, there's charts, right? There's charts, and you could see it going, and you could see the candlesticks forming, and you could see it's forming a flag or whatever.
Absolutely. Great.
But if there's no volume and there's nobody buying into this stock, it's not moving. You know, Absolutely. It's not the charts are not just moving the stock. It's you got to have news, and you got to have, you know, the PR and all of that stuff. You know, that's what moves a stock. So, and it moves it fast. So when I found it, I was like, yeah, this is it, you know, and I was like, I felt it in my heart. I sent it to Stan, and then he tweeted it, and then I started tweeting it, and then people in my Discord started sending me more information about it because they were really researching it too. And you have a group of people that are like-minded, right? And you
Absolutely.
have them all research stuff for you.
Absolutely.
And That's
like
it.
you got a whole
you know?
research team together. Everybody's digging up
Exactly, and we're
research
all like
and
working towards the same thing.
yeah, and
And then,
people
you
are
know,
finding information that maybe you haven't approached across your table, and they're like, "Here, I found this research," and that's the beauty of a collective together,
yeah.
working together.
And Professor Lopez, I'll invite you into my Discord. I'll send you.
Oh, thank you, fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. You talked about faith. How important has your faith been in moving forward in finding your purpose and your success now? Because, you know, I always tell people that Jesus was the master at relationship building. He was a networker. He was building relationships. He cared about people. I don't know how many billions of people are on this planet, but you gotta learn how to get along with people, interpersonal relationship. And if you want to be successful, I have a quote, and I can't remember, but I'm gonna paraphrase it, that it says, if you want to be successful, help others become successful, or help others find their purpose in life. And somehow the rewards of that God blesses just when you help others, and you do it when unselfishly, because you want to be of service, you want to give back, you want to help others to become successful, and it just seems that things follow you when you're in alignment with God.
I mean, I've always had a giving. Yes, and you know, for me, my faith is everything. I think it drives me who I am. It definitely now more than ever. I know my purpose in life, and that's to serve God. Once I serve Him, everything else will fall in place. Like I said, when I started this journey, it was all about God use me, and I didn't even know why I was writing that on my post on Facebook or whatever, the hashtag. But I knew that I didn't know it was going to be the Wall Street Journal, or it was going to be landing me on the Fox Business News. But I knew like He was using me and Stan and our platform to help others, because Stan really wanted to help cops because of all the stuff that was going on with the police officers and the ridicule and all that stuff. And he really wanted to help his fellow police officers that he worked with, you know, and it's like a bond that they have. And you know, a lot of them are going through where they're scared to go to work because, you know, there's so much hate out here for them and all this stuff. So that was his platform, and he really wanted to help the police because he was making all this money, and he was like, well, let me like get them whatever, you know. For me, it was like, I always knew that God wanted to use me, and I knew He always wanted to use me in a big way because I've been around the stars and all that stuff. And but I didn't know where it was going to take me. But I believe in Him, and I know that He's going to use me in everything that I do, whether it's real estate, whether it's, you know, PR, whether it's Twitter. I know that He was going to bring people to me. So for me, it's everything. Everything that I do is intertwined with my faith. And I have a very giving heart, and I truly believe that when you give, it comes back tenfold. And it's been my testimony for real.
Absolutely. What are the values that have been passed down from your parents?
Oh my gosh, my parents have been the best parents. You know, growing up, obviously we had differences and we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but definitely the way that they raised me is who I am today. You know, like, you know, be honest, be loyal, be truthful, you know, be dedicated, be a hard worker. You know, all of those things is what my parents taught me, and it was always biblical. It always came from a Bible sense, you know. Even when I curse now, my mom's like, "Don't curse," you know, she's all that. And it's, you know, that's just how I grew up in a very strict Christian home, and so those were all things, just like Jesus. Whatever Jesus did, what would Jesus do? You know?
But it's good timeless wisdom, you know, timeless wisdom that, you know, there's things that today I'm like, yeah, Mom, you were right. You know, now I value the values that my mom instilled in me, except when I was younger, we had differences, and I was like, no, I was like, come on, you know, I didn't want to hear it. And then now as I'm older, and now I appreciate those timeless wisdom that she passed down, and I'm like, you know, you were right.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that, and it's made me stronger than who I am today, right? What are five things that you could share with the group? Your top 5 things for the group to take away to apply immediately into their lives or
Sure.
to carry forward? 5 nuggets.
Be true to yourself. Know what you want. Go get it. Always set goals for your life, whether it's, you know, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. And so set goals for yourself. Go get it. Know who you are, be dedicated, and work hard. So those are
Everybody get that? Everybody get that? Well, this is recorded, so I definitely got to send you the link of the recording and stuff. But any other questions for Shar? Because she's got a contract to write, and it's midnight over there.
I mean, I'll come back and check in with you guys anytime you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. Yes. Any other questions for Shar? This has been great.
Just one last really quick one. In terms of making a lot of money, you know, being like financially stable, because like I want to be rich. I'm pretty sure everybody else wants to be rich too. But what do you think is like the best way to go about that? Definitely, I would say doing what you love doing, but any other things to add upon that?
You got to make your money work for you. Meaning, you can have all the money saved in your bank account, but it's not really doing anything. It's just sitting there. It might collect a little bit of interest for you, but it's not building your account, right? So you got to make your money work for you. So if you have, you know, whether it's $100, turn that $100 into $200. Whether you're, you know, investing into something, whether it's the stock market, whether it's into a project, you know, whatever it is, try to always take your money and make money for you. Does that make sense?
Jabari, does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always tell people, you know, you could win the lottery tomorrow, but if you don't know how to convert that money that you win in the lottery, you're going to lose it all and go bankrupt. And if you don't know how to take $1 and make $5 out of it or $10 out of it, how can I always tell people, you know, what is it the Lord says, be faithful in the small things and then you'll get more. So it's about financial literacy, financial management of what you do have right now to grow.
And there's a lot of people that do win the lottery and they don't have any money and they go broke in like 3 years because they go spend it on dumb stuff like cars, you know. I mean, it's great to have a nice car. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have cars, I have beautiful cars, but you know, you don't want to go buy a car, an expensive car, before you buy a house. You know, like owning real estate, you could build wealth because you're taking, if you're paying $1,000 for, let's just say $1,000 in rent, that's $12,000 a year. And then if you live there for, I don't know, 3 years, that's what is it, $36,000 that you just put towards, you just gave to your landlord for 3 years, you know, when you could have bought a house and put that towards your home and pay down your mortgage. But then the value of your house goes bigger because of the area and the location you're in, and it's growing, you know? So it's like 2 ways. So it's paying down your mortgage and then growing your equity. So, you know, I always tell people, especially you guys are young, you know, always be financially stable. You know, don't rely on anybody else to take care of you. You know, work hard, save your money, you know, find some type of investment to go into, you know, whether you're buying a stock and you're turning, you know, you're making $10, you know, a day, you know, of your stock, you know, that's 5 trading days, that's $50. And then that's $200 extra every month. You know, you got to start somewhere. You don't have to have a big account and you don't have to, like, you know, become a millionaire overnight because you're not going to succeed, but you can definitely, it's a pace, you know, it's not a race, it's a pace. So, yeah.
How old were you when you bought your first house?
I was 30, how old was I? 36? I was 36. Nice.
And is part of your portfolio, investment portfolio, is real estate part of your portfolio?
Yes, it is. I'm actually planning on buying my second house. I want to buy a beach home.
Ooh, nice.
right in like in Delaware, so I'm working on that. You know, there's some things that I want to take care of. I don't have any debt, thank God. You know, I paid all that off. I do want to take care of my student loans, and right now the student loans are deferred, so people are like, "Oh, just hold on to it." You know, who cares?
Sure.
Because you know, but you know, once you have the money set, you can help others, you can help your family.
Absolutely.
You know, so you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I don't need much. I have a beautiful house on the lake. It's brand new.
Nice.
And it's a huge house.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you. I worked really hard for it. And I went for the big thing. You know, I didn't start off with like a condo and then move to
Right.
I just went for the mansion, you know.
Exactly. So. Talk about what are the in your opinion, what are the pillars of wealth? You know, I've read some of my some books, as well as I've talked to some of my friends that they're extremely way successful, that they say that they have the 5 pillars of wealth. What is the 5 pillars of wealth for you? And I always tell students that think of your portfolio like a pizza, like a large pizza, and you have to cut slices. What percentage should people have in the various different pillars?
Wow, that's a good question. That's going to make me think. The 5 pillars of wealth. Well, in order to be wealthy, you got to be healthy. So I would say that's one pillar. In order to be wealthy, you need to be knowledgeable. So I would say that's another pillar. In order to be wealthy, you have to be open-minded. I'd say that's the 3rd pillar. The 4th would probably be hardworking. You got to be a hard worker to be wealthy. I mean, you know, once you're wealthy, you can relax, whatever. But I'm pretty sure most entrepreneurs that I know that are super wealthy and are multimillionaires, they're still working. You know,
they're still hustling. Yeah.
Yes, my grandfather, he was a ultimate hustler. You know, he always worked, and he couldn't. My grandmother wouldn't be able to let him sit down. You know, because he was just working all the time. You know, I think in order to be a wealthy, for one of your pillars, you have to continue to work and be a hard worker. And then the 5th one would probably be a compassionate person. You got to be compassionate and you got to have the passion. So yeah, those are my 5 pillars of wealth, being wealthy.
That's great stuff. Any other questions for Shar?
Sure.
Any other questions for Shar? One last one, Shar, is that women is the fastest growing demographic of new entrepreneurs. And, you know, there's that phrase, the future is female. I definitely see that in terms of entrepreneurism. It's the fastest growing demographic. I saw a Forbes article the other day that said that in the next 10, 20 years, females are going to control something like $3 trillion in wealth.
Wow.
In purchasing power. How hard was it for you to succeed as a female entrepreneur? And was there any challenges or barriers? And what could you share for the women here that are interested in entrepreneurism and how to overcome similar barriers or that you may or may not?
I think being a woman is the most amazing thing. And I think nowadays, I think we are proving ourselves to be who we are. We're strong, we have overcome, and, you know, we have proven that we can do anything, you know? So, it is hard because, you know, I think about going all the way back to when I first started like working, and like, you know, there was always like, you know, I was always working for, my bosses were always men, or, you know, it was more men roles than there are women roles in like authoritative management positions. But what I love about this now is that it's our turn, you know, and we are here and we're not going to put up with anything. And I love the fact that, you know, that we can stand in solidarity and we can embrace each other. You know, I think a lot of times women fail because they don't embrace other women. And now there's this big, huge movement about, you know, women empowerment and women empowering other women. And I think that it's huge, you know, and I think we finally are getting our foot into the business world, and people are finally like accepting of it. And I think people want it, you know. I think men want it too, and I see that, you know, when I see a lot of men supporting it. So to have that and the evolvement of it all is just so inspiring, you know, especially in day trading. You know, you see a lot of traders out there. You don't see a lot of women
That's true.
taking that authoritative figure. You know, you have, you know, you have the Yates and you have the Alex Cutlers and you have the Buy Sell Short, you have the Stanley Barch, Stan the Trading Man. You have all these guys, and they are really powerful on Twitter, and they put out these hot stocks, and they're doing their thing, and they have a lot of followers, you know. But then you don't really have like women doing that.
That's right.
So, you know, for me, it's like, it's a challenge. You know, I want to get there. I want to get 100,000 followers, you know, and I want to be the ones calling out the stocks. And why not? You know, because Wall Street's always been men, you know. So when you have women, it's like doing this. And they're embracing it, you know, they're loving it, you know, and they want it for you. It's pretty cool. It's a really great feeling, for sure.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Yeah, I was on the live feed yesterday on Twitter with Stan and you and Alex talking about real estate, and I could definitely see that they support you. They consider you a colleague and a fellow professional.
Exactly.
And that's the way it should be, right? It's there's been some industries that have been dominated by males, and we need to continue. I always talk about to the females in the class, who's the next trailblazer? Who's the next pioneer? Who's the next person that's willing to go first and try to blaze new trails and be a pioneer and open the doors for others, you know, to get into what was a primarily dominant male industry, but to change that, right? Because of what women bring to the table, not just intelligence, but a lot of the different things that's unique to females. You know, some of the most successful businesses are the ones where the management is comprised of a lot of female executives and things like that. So it's great what you're doing. I'm so happy for your success.
Thank you so much.
I thank you so much for being here. We thank you for your time. We loved it. We want to have you come back. Definitely. Anyone else? Last call.
How do I take a screenshot of this? I want to take a screenshot. This is so cute. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Everyone smile. Yay. Hold on. I'm going to put you guys on Twitter.
And I'm definitely going to send you the recording to this so that you'll have it so you can see what.
Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Professor, for having me on. Go Trojans. I am a huge football fan of your school.
Nice.
You guys rock, and hopefully you guys can get back to this normalcy here shortly, you know?
I know, right? Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everyone that joined us today. Thank you so much for being here. We had as high as 43 participants today. Thank you so much for joining us. Any last minute things? Now's your chance, because Char's got work to do, so she's got to hustle.
Yes.
Yeah, do you have like any Instagram or something so we can contact you?
Yes, you guys can follow me all on Twitter, Instagram. It's all the same. It's Realtor Shar. You can find me. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the internet, especially after the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, exactly. Great. And someone by the name of Paul said he's extremely proud of you, and he's just so awesome to hear your own daughter helping others and sharing knowledge.
That's my dad.
He says he's very proud. So thank you, Paul, for being on, and thank you, Shar. Thank you so much for this. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good semester, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shar.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Shar.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.